Okay, let me share my screen. Here we go. All right, so this is a work along for editing an InkThinks video. I've already went through and edited the audio, as you can see with all these cuts here. And an important thing is I had to drag in an image. Any image works. This isn't even up to the same aspect ratio. This is 720, whereas my whole canvas is 1080. But the reason that we want to have this picture in here is so that we give something for Adobe After Effects to work with, which is what we're going to do all of our editing in. This one actually shouldn't be too demanding in After Effects, but I think I prefer that to Premiere. It's just easier to do any sort of animation that we might need to. So you're gonna, you can click A, and that'll give you this select everything to the right button, and then click on the first part of your project, then right click and do replace with After Effects composition. All right, name it whatever you want. Things I love Smash. There we go. All right, right off the bat, you're going to notice this is different than Premiere. Why is this zoomed in 1,600%? I'm going to set that to 50%. So you'll notice this is different Premiere. Your timeline is laid out in a way that's really strange until you get used to it. It's all stacked on top of each other and going at the same time. But to kind of get an idea of everything we're working with, come click on Project. And this is what you're going to drag everything into your clip, or everything into your video from. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete. Oh, maybe I can't just delete that image. Oh, I can. There we go. So select on the thumbnail Ryan layer and delete that. I'm left with this black screen and my audio. So it starts with...
Last week I did a video on the things that I most hate about Ultimate.
Yeah, so it starts with that. So what I typically do is listen through a little bit and think what kind of footage would go well with that. Right off the bat, I'm thinking of some just generalized Smash footage.
Last week I did a video on the things that I most hate about Ultimate. But this week I'm going to turn it around and balance it with the things that I love about the game. And boy, is there a lot to love. Let's start with the music. One of the main reasons that people said they loved Brawl was because of the...
Yeah, so I'm going to just go ahead and start with some Smash footage. Go ahead and come to this button right here that says full. This is the quality that your stuff's going to play at. Unless I have to do a very specific kind of editing that we'll never have to do for these videos, I always just click, I always just click quarter because that makes everything load much easier. So I'm going to come grab my footage. YouTube footage, game capture library. I think this might be it.
2, 1, go!
That'll work. So this is some gameplay captured with Janine. So to put this into your timeline, it's super simple. Oh, and if you didn't see that, I dragged it into my library over here. That's the easiest way, I think. You can also rename it if you need. I usually don't bother with that. But I'll go ahead and do it this time for demonstration. Smash footage. There we go. And then just go ahead and drag it in here. You'll notice if you just play it right away, you're going to get the audio from the game too, which you don't want because it will blast your ears off because everything is super loud or super quiet in Premiere for some, or in After Effects for some reason. The other thing is it pops up with this little binding box on the outside. And you can see it's not quite 1080p. It's just a little bit beneath it. So I'm going to click on this corner box, hold shift so that it scales evenly. If you don't hold shift, you can mess up the aspect ratio. And then just drag it out until it fits. There we go. And, oh, make sure you come over to your footage here and click the little sound icon to get rid of that audio like I was saying. And then I'm gonna zoom in. On Mac, you just pinch the trackpad. I don't know how you do it on Windows.
Last week I did a video on the things that I most hate about Ultimate, but this week I'm going to turn it around and balance it with the things that I love about the game. And
give me 1 second. Yeah, I was just making sure I was recording. I thought for a second I forgot to. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to let this run for just a little bit.
Most hate about Ultimate. But this week I'm going to turn it around and balance it with the things that I love about the game. And boy, is there a lot to love. Let's start with the music. One of the main reasons that people said they loved Brawl was because of the amazing soundtrack that came with the game.
So I actually have some footage that is on the music screen. So I'm going to see if I can find that. What I did here is pinch to zoom out. You can also drag this little mountain icon down here and just click on the tape and drag it to scroll through. And it actually looks like it's not the footage I was thinking. That's okay. I'm going to start with this Falcon Ditto. So to cut footage in here, it's different than in Premiere. It's a lot less intuitive. You click where you want to split it, and you do Command or Control Shift D, and that duplicates it while cutting it. And then you just click on the layer that you don't want and press delete, and you get rid of it. Then dragging the new one to the start, so we can start with this cool Captain Falcon footage. And yeah, there we go.
Last week I did a video on the things that I most hate about Ultimate.
But this week I'm going to turn it around and balance it with the things
There's
that
some of
I
that
love
audio
about
distortion.
the game. And boy, is there a lot to love. Let's start with the music. One of the main reasons that people said they loved Brawl was because of the amazing soundtrack that came with the game.
So I was thinking of pulling up the footage of the music select screen because I had recorded that, but I'm thinking that might be more boring than just keeping this Falcon footage going. So I'm gonna just keep this going and then play cool music in the background.
And that was absolutely valid because Brawl had some of the best music in the Smash series. That said, Ultimate has all of that music and more. And not only does Ultimate have some of the best music from Nintendo's long history, but they've also included a great amount of third-party music, including the best boss music of all time, Megalovania, and my favorite video game soundtrack, the songs from Persona 5. The music is such a strong appeal to the series that I'm surprised it's not raved about more.
That was a disgusting Falcon punch. Oh my gosh.
Songs from Persona 5. The music is such a strong appeal to the series that I'm surprised it's not raved about more. But honestly, I can't really blame people when the music has to compete with our next topic, the visuals. This game is absolutely gorgeous.
So in just a little bit, I'm going to cut to that original Fountain of Dreams footage that I showed you. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second.
The stunning HD makes each character pop and look lively, but on top of that, the choice to bring back and
So right here, I'm talking about bringing back and remastering stages. And as part of that, I'm going to drag this footage back on top. That's usually the easiest way to do it, is just grab your footage again. Make sure to drag it to match the aspect ratio of the screen, holding Shift. And then we have a problem here. First off, we have to remember to mute it. But look at how this transitions. So
with our next topic, the visuals. This game is absolutely gorgeous. The stunning HD makes each character pop and look lively, but on top of that, the choice to bring back and remap.
It's really jarring. So you could go through and keyframe a fade in. I'll show you how to do that manually, and then I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. So keyframes, like I said, are just telling Premiere to take a single point in time and start editing an animation from there. So to get to that, you click on this little arrow next to the layer that you want to edit, click transform, then you're going to get all these different things: anchor point, position, scale, rotation, opacity. So I'm going to keyframe some opacity in here. I'm going to come to the start of the clip and then click this little clock next to opacity. And before I drag anywhere, I'm going to set this to 0. And then I'm going to just come a little bit forward in this timeline and then set this to 100. all that does is down here, it tells After Effects, right here, I don't want to see any of this footage, but right here, I want to see all of it. Oh, I set it to 10, not 100. I was like, wondering why that didn't work. So that's actually a good thing to learn. If you need to change or delete something, you could either come to the exact frame it came in on, or just click the keyframe that you don't want, click delete, and then put in the value that you do want, which is 100. And if I did that right, it should look a lot better at this transition now.
That the choice to bring back and remaster old stages was such a great idea. I mean, just look at the way that Fountain of Dreams pops. Each stage seems to have so much detail and care put into it. Even something as simple as Battlefield has a ton of really cool details in the background. This game is definitely the prettiest Smash game to look at.
So I could do footage of Battlefield there, but I really want to keep these videos pretty minimal editing, and I already have these platforms here. But you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do Battlefield footage. So the way I typically get that is if I forgot to record it, I will come to Google Chrome, go to YouTube, and then as long as it's footage of the game and people didn't do their own super unique thing on it, you can use it. You can use about as much of it as you want, as long as you give them credit in the comments or in the description. But if it's really anything though, like any sort of creator content, you can use it in fair use as long as it's for commentary and it's for a short amount of time. The specification is that it can't work as a replacement to watching the original video. You have to prove that it's for commentary or parody. And I think those are the two big things. Make sure that you specify, or make sure that it isn't a replacement for watching the entire video, and make sure that you can justify it as part of commentary and you're not having it for the sake of having it. So I'm going to come into Battlefield Smash Ultimate background. Yeah, so it looks like this person may have just uploaded the background itself. So let's see how that looks. Okay, great. That's perfect. It's 6 minutes, 6 minutes long, which is not what I wanted, because it's a bigger file than I need, but that's all right. Then I'm going to come to this program called 4K Downloader. That's what I use. It's free and it's awesome for getting things from YouTube. And it's on Mac and Windows. But what you're going to do is copy the URL, click on 4K Downloader, and then paste. It's going to take a while to parse. I don't know what that means. Okay, great. There we go. Click download video. I typically tend to stay away from 60 FPS because having clips of various frame rates in After Effects makes After Effects mad. So if you can all avoid it, don't do 60 FPS. So it's 720p, which isn't as good as 1080, but you can't really tell. So it'll take a second to download. That is just fine. This isn't wanting to download, whatever. I'll click force. There we go. Mom and Dad's internet is real bad, and that's where I'm doing this from. There we go. So then click Show in Finder, or whatever the equivalent is on Windows. There it is. Okay. Then just drag that into your project timeline and bring it down. When you drag it down here, you want to drag it to the top. This puts it in order of, or it sets the priority. So if I set this layer here, you're going to be able to see the battlefield background. But if I were to click the same layer and drag it down below, you can't see anything. I'm going to do the same thing. Click on the binding box and drag it to be full sized. And then this doesn't look super good now, and that's because I have it set on quarter quality. But if I do full, it looks a lot sharper. So I'm going to come to where I'm talking about Battlefield's background.
Battlefield has a ton of really cool.
Nice. And I forgot to mute it. Drag it over just a little bit so it lines up better.
As simple as Battlefield has.
There we go. And you know, I showed you how to keyframe stuff, which I recommend doing for the first several times you animate things. But you can also come over here to your Effects tab, click Animation Presets, Behaviors, and then Fade In plus Out Frames. That is my best friend in editing. Just click it and drag it to the layer that you want. And what that does is it does the keyframes for you. So now if we watch through it.
As simple as Battlefield has a ton of really cool details in the background. This game is definitely the prettiest Smash game to look at.
All right, and because that's not very interesting, I only want it on there for just a few seconds. And what's great is because it's a fade in and out, you don't have to keyframe it exiting either.
Battlefield has a ton of really cool details in the background. This game is definitely the prettiest Smash game to look at. And speaking of cool things to look at, my next thing that I love is really quick, but I absolutely love the way that the camera zooms in when you land a game-ending blow.
All right, so I'm talking about getting the final hit in a battle, and I am pretty confident I have footage of that, but I want to scroll through. I dragged in new footage again and make sure that I can find that. Janine may have just SD'd every single time, which would be unfortunate. I know that I did get it in separate footage though, so let's see. Oh wait, I do know that I talked about jokers, so I'm going to go ahead and clip that real fast for later. Let's see. There we go. Delete the original one. Once again, that's Command-Shift-D or Control-Shift-D. I'm gonna come, oh, forgot to mute it.
Really quick, but I absolutely love the way that the camera zooms in when you land a game-ending blow. It just makes everything feel so much grander and epic, and it makes your win feel so much more deserved. Ending the game in general is really cool when you consider how many awesome victory animations there are.
All right, so that's all I want from that clip. I'm gonna click on the footage that I have with Joker here and split it again. And then I'm going to, before I come back and fill in this gap with me landing a game finishing blow, I'm gonna get this little glove snap to line up at a cool place with the audio.
Grander and epic, and it makes your win feel so much more deserved. Ending the game in general is really cool when you consider how many awesome victory animations there are. My favorite of them all is Joker, due to how similar it is to the original game. Due to how my favorite of them all.
So I'm going to line this up when he says Jokers.
Animations there are. My favorite of them all is Jokers, due to how similar it is to the original game. And
oh, that works out perfect. It says game when I say that. Sweet. Once again, I'm going to click on it and drag the binding boxes out just a little bit. There we go.
It just makes everything feel so much grander.
I'm going to auto fade this because it's just the best. Then I'm going to try to find me getting a killing blow. I think I may have gotten it on this one. Nope, that was another SD. This one was also an SD. And so is this one. Okay, so I'm going to delete this top footage and come find the other footage that I captured. It's all called training because I haven't set up my Elgato to capture the way that I want it to. Training 8 is what it would be. Great, so I'm gonna need this in here anyway. So sometimes I forget to have my project library open over here. And if that's the case, you can just drag it directly into the top of your timeline. The reason I don't like doing this a lot is because you don't control the placement, it just sticks it in there. But it also shows it over here. It automatically adds it there. So I'm gonna rename this home run footage, because that's what this first little bit is. Oh, there's my music stuff. I'm still not gonna include it though, because it's boring. Let's see. All right, so right around here is where I have that final blow. I'm gonna drag it over.
Care put into it. Even something as simple as Battlefield has a ton of really cool details in the background. This game is definitely a Smash game to look at. And speaking of cool things to look at, my next thing that I love is really quick, but I absolutely love the way that the camera...
All right, so that lines up with what I was saying. I'm going to drag this out to match this Battlefield footage so that you don't get just a snippet of this battle for 1 second. And I'm going to auto fade this home run footage.
Cool details in the background. This game is definitely the prettiest Smash game to look at. And speaking of cool things to look at, my next thing that I love is really quick, but I absolutely love the way that the camera zooms in when you land a game-ending blow. It just makes every...
All right, and then because I messed up the priority when I dragged this in, I'm going to drag my new Smash, or my old Smash footage up here so that it can auto fade over this layer, like that. Real fast, if you notice down here, I have 3 layers of footage going on right now, and that's going to slow down my computer. So I'm going to look for when you're not going to see this one anymore, Smash footage, because that's under this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that and delete what I don't need. I'm going to come over to this footage to when I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to cut that, and then because I still might need it a bit in the future, I'm going to just drag this down here. There we go. Now let's watch through, make sure it works.
Detail and care put into it. Even something as simple as Battlefield has a ton of really cool details in the background. This game is definitely the pretty...
I'm going to click on this and drag out that binding box. Forgot to do that. There we go.
Really cool details in the background. This game is definitely the prettiest Smash game to look at. And speaking of cool things to look at, my next thing that I love is really quick, but I absolutely love the way that the camera zooms in when you land a game-ending blow. It just makes everything feel so much grander and epic, and it makes your win feel so much more deserved. Ending the game in general is really cool when you consider how many awesome victory animations there are. My favorite of them all is Jokers, due to how similar it is to the original game. And while we're talking about original things, I love the fact that you can play as your own avatars.
All right, so here I'm talking about Mii Fighters again. I've already used that footage, but it should be all right as long as I pick up at a different point in the battle. So I'm going to go about halfway through the battle. Yeah, right about there should be fine. And I'm going to Command-Shift-D to split that. There you go. Dragging this footage back some more just so we don't run into any overlap again and slow it down. Click on the layer, Shift drag the binding box. There we go. And I'm going to do fade in.
Talking about original things.
Oops, forgot to mute it.
And while we're talking about original things, I love the fact that you can play as your own avatars in the form of Mii fighters. And not only can you create your own Miis from scratch, but Nintendo has really stepped up with the Mii costumes lately. Despite not having a ton of people probably playing as the Mii fighters, the Smash team puts a ton of thought and care into these costumes, especially when you look at highly unique ones like Sans, though I still have to wonder why Geno isn't included as a costume this time. But that brings up our next point, the size of the roster.
So I'm talking about another point, and I could change the footage, but I found that if I don't change, or if I change the footage in the middle of a battle, sometimes I lose retention. So I'm just going to keep this going as long as I can, unless there's an obvious need to change it.
Now, I've seen some people argue that because of the huge size of the roster, it's difficult to balance the game in a way that feels meaningful. That said, I think what Sakurai and his team did to the roster is incredible. Bringing back every single character from the series was so much hype. And not only does every Smash fan get to see their favorite character return to the game, but we also got a huge amount of DLC for relatively cheap. And not only is the DLC pack huge, but we've also developed a really fun speculation culture around it that gives me a channel to talk about it on, so I love it even more. And speaking of hyped up reveals,
so this looks like I'm about to talk about the World of Light trailer, which I'm going to have to download. But this works out perfect, because as I stop talking, there's this little transition here that we can use to transition to the next video.
Channel to talk about it on, so I love it even more. And speaking of hyped up reveals, while I didn't love the actual...
Yeah, so I might actually already have that footage downloaded, because I think I may have used it in my last video. It does not look like I have it. Okay. Okay, cool. So once again, that's really easy to do. Come up here, type in World of Light trailer. Oh wait. Hey, we're up to 1.72, so that's sweet. Awesome, okay, cool. World of Light trailer. Okay, same thing. Going to copy this URL, paste it. We'll see if this one goes any faster than the last one did. Come to 1080p, not 1080p 60 FPS, because that will mess up your After Effects. And do download. Cool. I'm going to close this out for now so that I get some faster processing speed. Okay, cool. I'm going to click in here and click on this little X up here on effect controls, and that's going to get me back to my project library. And in that time, this is finished downloading. So show in Finder or whatever the equivalent is on Windows, and drag it into my project library. I'm going to come up here, click, and make sure to mute these. These ones are always loud. So I want to come right there when the animation starts. It really is so cool. All right.
Also developed a really fun speculation culture around it that gives me a channel to talk about it on, so I love it even more. And speaking of...
All right, so I was wanting to line this up right when this was happening. So I actually think what I'm gonna do is, because this has fade in and out, I'm gonna cut it there and it should fade to black at that exact moment. There we go. And then I'm gonna give it just 1 second. You can see the little space I'm leaving in here. Right there. It's just a few frames. Right there, yeah. Just a few frames, but it's gonna be a nice little dip to black effect.
More. And speaking of hyped up reveals, while I didn't love the actual implementation of World of Light, I think we can all agree that the animation with the announcement of the game mode was one of the coolest things that we've been able to see in Smash. For me,
Real fast, some game companies aren't going to like you using their in-game footage or their trailers, and they're going to copyright flag you. Not in a way that hurts the channel, but in a way that prevents us from being monetized, unless they dispute it within 30 days. But it's usually better to get actual gameplay footage unless it's super relevant. I don't know. I've had mixed results. You can experiment around if you do it. But Nintendo is usually really good about you showing trailers or even directs.
Announcement of the game mode was one of the coolest things that we've been able to see in Smash. For me, that outdid any animation in Smash Bros. History, including anything in the Subspace Emissary. That shot of each character on...
So that shot of each character on the cliff. I'm going to see if there's another one that I can make it cut to at that time to make it seem like I'm impressive. Let's see. So there isn't.
Implementation of World of Light. I think we can all agree that the animation with the announcement of the game mode was one of the coolest things that we've been able to see in Smash. For me, that outdid any animation in Smash Bros. History, including...
No, it's not a huge deal. This is just a Wednesday video. So I'm going to bring it to when people are talking because that's more interesting than the hand slowly flying. And to get it to blend better, it has auto fade. So I just drag this bottom layer to overlap this top one, and it should look a bit more intentional here.
Game mode was one of the coolest things that we've been able to see in Smash. For me, that outdid any animation in Smash Bros. History, including anything in the Subspace Emissary. That shot of each character on the ledge and seeing them try to battle the beams in their own unique ways was great. That being said,
actually, I might have this be the more exciting footage of them all. Let's see. Yeah, so right here. There we go. It still has that auto fade in and out, and drag it on top.
Smash Bros. History, including anything in the Subspace Emissary. That shot of each character on the ledge and seeing them try to battle the beams in their own unique ways was great. That being said, I do really wish that they followed through on the hype a bit better with the game mode like fans were anticipating. But when we talk about listening to fan demand, we have to give Sakurai credit for improving the single-player mode even just a little bit by adding the home run contest to the game.
All right, so I am going to drag in my home run contest footage. The stuff really isn't too bad when you get used to it. On my Saturday videos, there's a bit more involved stuff, but it's nothing you can't learn in an hour or two. The biggest difference between channels that don't do a ton of edits or a ton of high-quality edits and channels who do more high-quality edits, like me or my friend BlastFox, is just knowing quicker ways. I imagine we spend similar amounts of time. All right, so right when it starts, here we go.
Player mode, even just a little bit by adding the home run contest to the game.
All right, then I'm gonna have that fade in right there.
I love the way that
Command drag like that. Then I'm gonna come a bit forward and then cut the bottom layer. Command Shift D, Control Shift D. The reason I don't do it right here is because this has auto fade, this layer down here, and that will cause it to fade before this one comes in, and I don't want to do that quite yet for this effect.
I love the way that this was implemented, and I think the mode is actually way more fun to play than people give it credit for. Some people do seriously crazy stuff with this. Now, if only we could get customized target test stages. But if we're talking about customizing stages, we can't ignore the decision to implement Omega and Battlefield stages.
So I want to show off my result. So before I close that off, I'm going to do an auto fade to right as it lands. And I'm going to drag that a bit forward right there.
Thinking about customizing stages, we can't ignore the decision to implement Omega and Battlefield stages. This is such a nice addition for people like me who tend to play primarily on legal stages exclusively.
All right, so right before it shows replay, I'm going to cut this and then cut to another battle. Just come back to Smash footage, zoom out so you can drag more effectively. We've already seen this battle. I think I'm going to do my Ridley and Donkey Kong battle on Jungle Japes. There we go. Cool. Zoom in, drag over, and then auto fade in and out. And then I'm going to come just forward a bit so I'll know how much to shift drag this to match the aspect ratio. And let's see how this looks.
Like me, who tend to play primarily on legal stages exclusively, I am really, really glad.
So I'm going to just drag this back just a little bit and then move it over to compensate because I don't like having that kind of splash screen.
For people like me, who tend to play primarily on legal stages exclusively, I am really, really glad that they put this into the game. And to be honest, Sakurai just put so much thought into each part of this game that it really shows his dedication to the game. But we can't talk about Sakurai's dedication without also mentioning
his fantastic presentations on it.
All right, so while that catches up to itself a little, I talk about Sakurai's presentation here, and I could show that, but that's less engaging than gameplay. So unless I absolutely need to and it feels weird, I'm going to just keep this gameplay going.
Specifically for the DLC, he just seems like such a happy person when he
talks about his game and his love for it reads through. And you can also see a lot of his personality course as well in his presentation.
Just little things, him counting in binary or playing both
controllers with one hand,
rather than pre-recording or getting someone to help.
You just really get the impression that he loves to make his fans happy and he wants his game to appeal to everyone. And that actually brings up my last point I want to talk about today. Ultimate is a game for everyone. I think Melee is my favorite Smash game in general, but I acknowledge
it can feel really slow and clunky until you get used to it.
But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate
the audio distortion was so weird in this.
Play kind of experience. Anyone can pick the game and within a few minutes be having fun and playing together. And ultimately, I think that's what Smash Bros. Is all about. If you want to see the stuff I dislike about Smash Bros., check out last week's video on screen now. Stay tuned if you want more content like this by hitting subscribe.
Feel free to come talk to me on Discord.
I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on Nintendo and Smash Bros.
Link is in the description below. Stay smashing.
All right, and that's it. Normally, I like having a dip to black at the end of my videos, but I don't like doing that one here in After Effects. I like doing transitions like that in Premiere. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. And all you have to do is Command or Control S to save in After Effects. And then click this X up here. And just like magic, it should all be in Premiere. Yep, right here. Oh, and it's going to be much louder. Premiere, as a general rule, is louder than After Effects.
But this week, I'm going to turn it around and balance it with the things that I love about the game. And boy, is there a lot to love.
Every now and then, After Effects doesn't like to load when you come in here. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it just won't play along and you have to close Premiere and then open it again. But I'm going to give it one final watch through and then I'm going to go add some music. I'm probably going to do, I'm going to add this video transition. So you might remember from the last video transition, dissolve, dip to black, then drag it here at the end. All right, so I'm going to give it a watch through on double speed and then go grab some music to put in here.
Last week I did a video on the things that I most hate about Ultimate, but this week I'm going to turn around and balance it with the things that I love about the game, and boy is there a lot to love. Let's start with the music. One of the main reasons that people said they loved Brawl was because of the amazing soundtrack that came with the game, and that was absolutely valid because Brawl had some of the best music in the Smash series. That said, Ultimate has all of that music and more, and not only does Ultimate have some of the best music from Nintendo's long history, but they've also included a great amount of third-party music, including the best boss music of all time, Megalovania, and my favorite video game soundtrack, the songs of Persona 5. The music is such a strong appeal to the series, I'm surprised it's not ranked without more, but honestly, I can't really blame people when the music has to compete with our next topic, the visuals. This game is absolutely gorgeous. The stunning HD makes each character pop and look lively, but on top of that, the choice to bring back and remaster old stages was such a great idea. I mean, just look Look at the way that Fountain of Dreams pops. Each stage seems to have so much detail and care put into it. Even something as simple as Battlefield has a ton of really cool details in the background. This game is definitely the prettiest Smash game to look at. And speaking of cool things to look at, my next thing that I love is really quick, but I absolutely love the way that the camera zooms in when you let a game ending blow. It just makes everything feel so much grander and epic, and it makes your win feel so much more deserved. Ending the game in general is really cool when you consider how many awesome victory animations there are. My favorite of them all is Joker's, due to how similar it is to the original game. And while we're talking about original things, I love the fact that you can play as your own avatars in the form of Mii fighters. And not only can you create your own Miis from scratch, but Nintendo has really stepped up with the Mii costumes lately. Despite not having a ton of people probably playing as the Mii fighters, the Smash team puts a ton of thought and care into these costumes, especially when you look at highly unique ones like Sans, though I still have to wonder why Gino was included as a costume this time. But that brings up our next point, the size of the roster. Now I've seen some people argue that because of the huge size of the roster, it's difficult to balance the game in a way that feels meaningful. That said, I think what Sakurai and his team did to the roster is incredible. Bringing back every single character from the series was so much hype. And not only does every Smash fan get to see their favorite character return to the game, but we also got a huge amount of DLC for relatively cheap. And not only is the DLC pack huge, but we've also developed a really fun speculation culture around it that gives me a channel to talk about it on, so I love it even more. And speaking of hyped up reveals, while I didn't love the actual implementation of World of Light, I think we can all agree that the animation with the announcement of the game mode was one of the coolest things that we've been able to see in Smash. For me, that outdid any animation in Smash Bros. History, including anything in the Subspace Emissary. That shot of each character on the ledge and seeing them try to battle the beings in their own unique ways was great. That being said, I do really wish that they followed through on the hype a bit better with the game mode like fans were anticipating. But when we talk about listening to fan demand, we have to give Sakurai credit for improving the single player mode even just a little bit by adding the home run contest to the game. I love the way that this was implemented, and I think the mode is actually way more fun to play than people give it credit for. Some people do seriously crazy stuff with this. Now, if only we could get customized target test stages. But if we're talking about customizing stages, we can't ignore the decision to implement Omega and Battlefield stages. This is such a nice addition for people like me who tend to play primarily on legal stages exclusively. I'm really glad that they put this into the game. And to be honest, Sakurai just put so much thought into each part of this game that it really shows his dedication to the game. But we can't talk about Sakurai's dedication without also mentioning his fantastic presentations on the game. Specifically for the DLC, he just seems like such a happy person when he talks about his game, and his love for it really shines through. And you can also see a lot of his personality quirks as well in his presentation. Just little things like him counting in binary or playing both controllers with one hand rather than pre-recording or getting someone to help. You just really get the impression that he loves to make his fans happy, and he wants his game to appeal to everyone. And that actually brings up my last point I want to talk about today. Ultimate is a game for everyone. I think Melee is my favorite Smash game in general, but I acknowledge that it can feel really slow and clunky until you get used to it. But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a true pick up and play kind of experience. Anyone can pick up the game and within a few minutes be having fun and playing together. And ultimately, I think that's what Smash Bros. Is all about. If you want to see the stuff I dislike about Smash Bros., check out last week's video on screen now. Stay tuned if you want more content like this by hitting subscribe. Please feel free to come talk to me on Discord. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on Nintendo and Smash Bros. The link is in the description below. Stay smashing.
All right, cool. So I'm going to grab some music. Basically, any game music is fine to do. You won't get flagged for it, and no one gets mad as long as you don't have super loud audio, and you never would. Let's see, what's a good track? Let's do, I typically want something upbeat, unless I'm doing a really serious topic, which I don't do. I could do Brawl. I wonder if anyone's done a All Smash Themes remix. Let's see. Oh, sweet. Let's see how this goes. So you typically can use other people's music as long as you credit them in the comments, unless they say specifically not to. And this looks like it might just be someone taking literal rips from the game. So let's see. All right, so yeah, I don't like that, but I do like Melee's a lot. So we're gonna do Melee intro theme. There we go. And that's not gonna cover the whole video, but that's enough for a good little bit. I'm gonna paste. Extract audio this time. Normal quality. There we go. Let's do Brawl intro theme music. All right, that's not going to work because it has lyrics. So then let's just do Ultimate. Maybe that'll be long enough. If it's, oh, maybe it will be. No, we're going to need another song here. So let's do Smash 4. Yep, that'll work. And then I'm going to finish it off with Ultimate. And the E3 theme is really good. Cool. And I'm actually going to start with that theme in the video. Yeah, I'm going to overwrite it. I guess I already downloaded it. I'm going to start with that theme in the video because it's about Smash Ultimate, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea. And then I can move to the other ones throughout it. Show in Finder, and then you can just drag this directly in here. You're going to have the same issue as the CFS video. It's going to be way too loud. So what I'm going to do is come down here to the start of music, and I'm going to ripple delete. I cut that with C, clicked on the empty space, Shift, delete. Oh wait, because there's other things in this composition here, it's not going to let me ripple delete. So you just have to cut it, click delete, and then manually drag it over. And then go ahead and click on the audio, the music, which is track 2, press G, and then start with -25. It's usually a good sign when you can't see little audio ripples like this on the track below. So let's see if this sounds good.
Last week I did a video on the things that I most hate about Ultimate, but this week I'm going to turn it around and balance it with the things that I love about the game, and boy is there a lot to love. Let's start with the music. One of the main reasons that...
All right, yep, so that sounds good. I'm going to come to the end here. Any red flags for me, by the way, would be if there's any areas with little ripples like this that you might see, because that would tell me it's a louder part of the song that I have to be extra careful about. But going to go ahead and come to 4K Downloader, go to Melee, and drag that in here. Same thing, G-25. And look, you can see this one's a little bit louder, so I'm probably gonna have to take it down a bit more.
Just a little bit by adding the home run contest to the game. I love the way that this was implemented, and I think the mode is actually way more fun to play than people give it credit for. Some people do seriously crazy stuff with this. Now, if only we could get customized target test stages. But if we're talking about customizing...
That's actually not bad. I thought it would be. Oh, let me check this area back here. This is what I mean by a red flag, is if it's big like this, you want to double check to make sure you can hear everything you need to.
And rather than pre-recording or getting someone to help, you just really get the impression that he loves to make his fans happy and he wants his game to appeal to everyone. And that actually brings up my last point I want to talk about today. Ultimate is a game for everyone. I think Melee is my favorite Smash game in general, but I acknowledge that it can feel really slow and clunky until you get used to it. But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a true pick up and play kind of experience. Anyone can pick up the game and within a few minutes be having fun and playing together. And ultimately, I think that's what Smash Bros. Is all about.
All right. In some ways, it ends perfectly with when the actual video ends as far as content, but I still have this little plug I do at the end, so I'm not sure if I want it because it's going to make it obvious that my video's ended, but I'm going to keep it. This audio is just a little bit too loud, so I'm going to take it down, adjust gain by -3. And there we go. That should make this a bit better.
Until you get used to it. But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a true pick.
Sweet. All right. So
if you want to see the stuff I dislike about Smash,
what's a quick little, what if we do the athletic theme from Mario? This looks like it's someone's remix, and so I would just rather not use it if I don't have to. Oh, here we go. I don't like how clunky that sounds. Okay, I actually like that one all right. I didn't think I would because it's an older one. But no, I like that a lot. Okay. Extract audio. Come in here, click show in Finder. And then drag that down here. G-25. Looks like that's going to be quiet enough, probably.
If you want to see the stuff I dislike about Smash Bros., check out last week's video on screen now. Stay tuned if you want more content like this.
So it's actually not loud enough. Oh, I did minus 35. Okay, so I'm going to do plus 10.
By hitting subscribe. Please feel free to come talk to me on Smash Bros.
And it's still not loud enough. All right, I'm going to increase by another 3.
Check out last week's video on screen now. Stay tuned if you want more content like this by hitting subscribe. Please feel free to come talk to me on Discord. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on Nintendo and Smash Bros. The link is in the description below. Stay smashing.
I actually like that. Dun, 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 dun. So I'm going to drag that over here. Oops. Here we go.
That's what Smash Bros. Is all about. If you want to see the stuff I dislike about Smash Bros., check out last week's video on screen now. Stay tuned if you want more.
I'm going to bring that down by 3.
Dislike about Smash Bros., check out last week's video on screen now. Stay tuned if you want more content like this by hitting subscribe. Please feel free to come talk to me on Discord. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on Nintendo and Smash Bros. The link is in the description below. Stay smashing.
Cool. So I'm going to pause it, come to the end of the video, and cut it with C to cut it, V to get your arrow back, click delete, and then it's kind of abrupt as the music just stops like this.
Stay smashing.
So I'm going to give it a fade out by going to audio transitions, crossfade, exponential fade, and then drag that in right there.
Bros. The link is in the description below. Stay smashing.
But that cuts the audio off too early. So let me come back here. And we're just going to drag this to be a bit closer to the end.
The description below. Stay smashing.
There we go. All right, cool. Now all that's left to do is export this, upload it, and do a thumbnail. And once again, go to export media, make sure it's H.264, name it whatever you'd like, export video, export audio, scroll through, make sure everything's in there. Looks like it is, maximum render quality. And then you're just gonna click export. And that will do it for this video. I'll go ahead and stop the recording now.